What's her name? Maryland? Okay. Matches every year. I'd like to call to order the December 28th, 2023 Columbia Borough Council meeting. Could I have a roll call, please?
Councilperson Zink.
Here.
Councilperson Kaufman.
Here.
Councilperson Stahl. Councilperson Fisher. Here. Councilperson Price. Here. Councilperson Whitner.
Here.
Councilperson Regard.
Here.
Mayor Lips.
Here.
Would anybody care to offer an invocation? Well, if you would like to.
If I may, I won't offer this paper, but I do want to speak.
Okay.
Today, this morning, I was informed about a lifelong friend of mine and former neighbor that had just passed away, Albert Ellis.
Oh.
And as you know, Albert's wife Lynn has worked for us many years as a crossing guard. And Albert is part of that great tradition of Columbia basketball players that actually created that legend to where Columbia is a force to be reckoned with in basketball, both in Lancaster County and in Pennsylvania for that matter. So I ask you to keep Albert, his wife Lynn, and their families in your prayers as we go forward. Thank you.
If you'd like, please rise for a moment of silence. And Sharon, since it's your last meeting, would you like to lead us in a pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Announcement of executive and information sessions, there were none. Are there any additions, deletions, or reorganization of the agenda needed? I'm not aware of anything. Could I have a motion to approve the agenda as published? I have a motion by Councilperson Kaufman, second by Councilperson Price, to approve the agenda as published. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Citizen comment, non-agenda items only. The first sign up we have is Brad Chambers.
Hello. Good evening, everyone. Tonight I am here to celebrate the tenure of Sharon Littner. You were one of the first people in this borough to reach out and embrace me, and I'm very thankful for all the wisdom and guidance that you've shown me throughout this time. You've been a mentor to me in many respects, and you deserve your flowers today. I know that your years on council are not comprised entirely of pleasant experience, and I admire your tenacity to carry on in the face of ridicule, harassment, and at times slander. And by doing so, I think that you demonstrate what strength of character looks like. I strongly believe in the importance of council members welcoming criticism and being held accountable both by the public and each other. While differences among individuals are inevitable, I think it is crucial to handle these disagreements with care, particularly when interfacing with the public. Take me, for example. Your engagements with me, I don't think should resemble your engagements with each other. I mention myself not to redirect attention, but to stress the need for respectful discourse and engagement, a principle that should resonate across every interaction involving a council member. Each of you undoubtedly holds diverse visions for our borough's future, intersecting at points and obviously diverging at others. However, I don't think personal attacks and spectacle should ever really cross public meetings. Our aspirations for economic growth should not overshadow the importance of inclusivity and a sense of belonging for all in our community. When that is forgotten, I believe that it sends the wrong message. Attracting young professionals to Columbia and stimulating the economy has been a major theme throughout 2023. But the behavior I speak of, I believe to be at odds with this goal. When newcomers or transplants, as some Colombians call them, see things like this, they might wonder if you aren't part of certain clubs, if you have the wrong letter next to your name on a ballot, if you don't vote how the majority does, that you may be excluded. You may not be part of the group. And I think there's always room for improvement. I sincerely hope that we can collectively strive for positive changes in Colombia. And Sharon, I just want to say one more time, thank you for your dedicated service on council. Your contributions have left an indelible mark on our community.
Thank you, Brad.
That's it.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak that did not sign up? Minutes for approval. Could I have a motion to approve the Borough Council meeting minutes for December 12th, 2023?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilperson Kaufman, second by Councilperson Price, to approve the Borough Council meeting minutes for December 12th, 2023. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? All right, presentation and acceptance of reports. I would like to acknowledge the finance reports for November 2023. Are there any questions, comments? Tammy's not here, but I can probably answer. And if I can, I can go with her. Any questions? Frank, we have some information for you.
Me?
Yes, I just now remembered that we have it for you. And it's the
I can explain
fund
this.
balance.
This is out of the audit. That's the current fund balance right there. Yeah.
Thank you for rustling that, because I completely forgot you had that.
Yeah, and if I can, it's no secret. Frank has asked in several of our council meetings what the current fund balance is. That sheet's a little bit confusing because and that's why I highlighted the one. It's the free balance because the actual balance is over 4 million something, but a lot of that's already encumbered. So the amount of funds, unencumbered funds that sit in the bank account, which we call our reserve funds, kind of a misnomer, but that's a reserve fund, is just shy of $3 million.
Okay.
Thank you, Heather.
No, thank you. Forgot that. All right. Presentations. We have, is Anthony here?
Don't see it.
No, I don't either. All right, well, then we are not, that'll be canceled then.
Yep.
The gentleman from Parma was going to speak to us regarding reserving on-street parking for customer pickup in front of Parma, but he's not here to discuss it, so. Mayor Lutz.
Nothing at this time, Madam President.
Thank you. Action items. The first item we have, 11A, is reconsideration of ordinance 948 of 2023, amending Chapter 220, Section 22056, off-premise signage. We have to reconsider this and re-vote on it due to a veto after it had been delivered to the mayor. It came back with no signature. And then and per the Borough Code, when it comes back with no signature, within 10 days, it's considered a veto and we have to reconsider it.
Point of order.
Yes.
The ordinance did not come back to the borough as a veto. The ordinance, the hard copy of the ordinance was given to one of the clerks to keep until the next meeting. It was, I in no way intended to veto. It would be foolish to veto a 6-0 ordinance. But I did not sign it, and I was prepared this evening to make a statement that would go on the record as to why I chose not to sign the ordinance. So that, and the reason for that is, down the road, if someone contests the ordinance and they see that the ordinance was not signed by the mayor, they may seem to think, and records get lost, they may seem to think that the ordinance is not proper because I did not sign it, or the mayor did not sign it. But by having my statement read into the minutes shows the reason why it wasn't signed. And that would basically show that while it wasn't signed, it was put into law. But Evan, if you feel going the other way is more proper, I really don't have a problem. I don't like the idea of it being a veto.
I don't think we're left a choice, unfortunately. I understand what you're saying for sure, but I think we kind of had to treat that as you returned it unsigned to the borough, which is why we're going to do this tonight. I think that's kind of where we're at. I certainly would appreciate if you don't mind having your statement read into the record anyhow.
I would really like to do that.
Yeah.
And I mean, as long as it,
Yeah.
put it this way, the bottom line on this thing is, as long as it goes into law and it's clean, that's my big
Right,
concern.
well, and that's why we're revoting, because we want to
Okay,
make
and
sure that
I'll live with that.
yeah,
Yeah.
But I wanted to
procedurally,
make
we
that
don't want it
point
to
that-
be,
Yes.
Technically, I did not veto.
That's absolutely understood.
Right. yeah, that's why I said we have to treat it like a veto,
Yes.
so that procedurally, if we're challenged in the future, there's no,
Belt and suspenders.
yep,
Right?
there's
It's
no
over.
reason for
Yeah.
someone
No
to
problem, that's no
challenge
problem.
it.
Whatever you feel is proper, and as long as it works for the
So-
borough in the future.
Did you want to read your statement, or did you want,
I would,
okay,
I'll read my statement. Statement directed, Columbia Borough Council. I have chosen not to sign ordinance 948 of 2023, amending chapter 220, section 220-56, off-premise signs. I do not feel this ordinance addresses the possible safety problems that may exist with the placement of the sign close to the westbound exit on US Route 30. I also believe the erection of this sign will be a nuisance to adjacent property owners. I ask that this be entered into the minutes so my choice not to sign may be recorded. Respectfully, Leolitz Mayor, Borough Columbia.
A motion in a second.
Yep. Do I have
Do we have any chance to discuss it or not?
that's not allowed. We certainly can.
You certainly can. So I would get a motion in
Yeah.
a second, and then you
I'm
can.
sorry.
Yep. Yep.
I'll make a motion. Second.
All right, I have, and I'm assuming it's a motion to adopt. I have a motion by Councilperson Kaufman and a second by Councilperson Price to adopt ordinance 948 of 2023. Sharon?
Since we voted on this before, I have been given some new information that I was not aware of that kind of elaborated on the safety. And so after reading that and giving a lot of thought to the area that it'll be located, I am inclined to want to change my vote. So I just wanted to explain why, and it would be because of safety of that area.
Any other questions?
What regarding safety?
Because it's already a busy area to get on and off there to exit.
So it's a presumed concern about safety, or is there a study, or was there something
There
that?
was information that I believe Jessica Fieldhouse presented to some people on Planning Commission, and I had not had a chance to read through that until recently. And when I did, raised a few red flags for me that may not be the best location for that type of sign.
Thank you.
Sure.
Oh, Mary, do you have your hand up back there? Yeah. All right. I mean, while Mary's coming up, I'll say that the first time they presented this to us, they were very clear with giving us the safety information for similar applications on similar stretches of,
Distances
and
visibility
distances and everything
others.
else, and that it did not impact safety and,
Okay, this is Mary Wickenheiser, Chair of Columbia Borough Planning. Really didn't plan on being here this evening. Yes, we discussed safety, and yes, Jessica did provide a study to us. But we also looked at how this ordinance was framed with regard to that study. And we looked at this 2 months of planning. And I will say there was one planning commission member at that time who was an alternate who expressed concerns about safety. He was not there at the time we did make the recommendation, but we did have his input. And the members of the planning commission at that time felt that this ordinance, as written, did not present a safety hazard. The thing we have to keep telling ourselves is what you are doing is passing an ordinance. You are not permitting a billboard. In the long run, there will probably be something out there, but it's got a lot more steps to go through before it can be permitted and erected. It has to go through state permitting. I've had the discussion with the mayor. We had discussion between the meetings here. I knew he was not happy that planning recommended this. I will say that his actions here says that he really was not happy with council's actions on this either. But what we had to keep focusing on at planning was we are looking at an ordinance. We are not looking at permitting a billboard at that location. If somebody wants to erect a billboard at that location, as I said, there's a lot more steps they have to go through. So passing this ordinance does not say that tomorrow they're going to start construction on a billboard out here. You're looking at an ordinance, not a permit.
but I think you have to, and I
You
get
kind of
that.
look at the
You
two.
have to look at it
They
at the
overlap.
same time, that, because there is that overlap, that
Mhm.
whatever you do in the ordinance is going to have a real world application.
Right.
So you're not just looking at a paper.
Right.
You are looking at a real world application, so we do have to keep that in mind also.
Mhm. But the thing is, what you're looking at is an ordinance.
Correct.
Okay.
But
Thank-
without that ordinance change, they wouldn't be able to move forward with this, is that correct?
They could always go to zoning to request
Okay.
an exception or some such to be able to do it. So there are multiple ways to accomplish an end. Okay? Any further questions? Thank you for allowing me to speak.
No problem.
Thank
This
you.
is sort of a weird.
It is. It is. I can only ever recall the mayor with one other veto when I was on council, and I think that was a budget. Thank you.
Yeah, I did. Nate, did you want to
Yep.
make a comment?
I feel like if this were the Supreme Court, this would be the dissenting opinion. All due respect to Barry, I appreciate the decision that was made. And, I was the dissenting opinion. Unfortunately, at that time, I did not have a vote on the
Can't hear.
proclamation.
Speak up.
Okay.
Okay, here.
Okay. So I just wanted to make the point that I think safety concerns were the primary reason why I was against this. And I think that the data that Jessica Fieldhouse shared with us, I don't feel that the plan addressed what she shared with us. I think I want to highlight one point, or maybe 2 points. This in particular stood out to me in the data that Jessica shared with us. She said, roadside advertising should not be located in complex driving locations where the traffic conditions are likely to change rapidly or in the center of the driver's field of view. I mean, there were a number of points, but that was the one that really stood out to me. And when you talk about a complex driving situation, that exit is the perfect example of that to me. And just one other thing I wanted to mention that it was a good question was asked was, if this ordinance were not passed, are there any other alternatives? And the other alternative, like was mentioned, is to go before zoning. And that is actually, in my understanding of the way that these things work, that's actually normally the route that you would take. You would go for a special exception before zoning. What is being attempted to do right now is change an ordinance rather than to get an exception, which was explained to us. They had to decide, do they want to make try and get an exception or change the ordinance, and this was the easier of the two routes that they decided to go with. I have a bit of an issue with that too. I feel like you go through the normal channels, you ask for your exception. It's a tougher process, and I think that's on purpose. I think that this is a really tricky subject, and I think that it should be a tougher process to get an exception. So I just wanted to explain my reasoning since I was mentioned not by name, but that's all.
Thank you. Yep.
Claudia Shank on behalf of the petitioner in this matter. A couple points that I want to address. First, with respect to the idea that this was the easier process, this is certainly not the easier process. It's a more time-consuming process. The zoning hearing board hearing can be accomplished in 2 months. This has taken more than 6 months, but we believed it was the better process to address a change like this, and that's why we went this route. So I did want to address that specifically. I also did want to speak briefly to the safety issue. I know there was information shared by your township engineer. We also shared some studies that we have, which were in the surrounding area, including in Reading, Pennsylvania, which would attest to the safety of a billboard sign like this on a highway like 30. I want to point out as well that a billboard is currently there and is permitted under your current ordinances there. What we're proposing is a larger board that's more in keeping with the types of billboards that you would see along a corridor like Route 30. We think it'll be more legible to passersby than a smaller board would be, or frankly, the board that's there now. So I do want to dispel any notion that a board would not be permitted there without this relief. The relief allows us to have a larger board that would be more in keeping with what you see along that corridor. Thank you.
Thank you.
Heather?
Yes.
The study that Jessica provided us was from Queensland, Australia.
Oh.
Oh. Okay. And as was stated here, we were provided with more local studies that evening that we had our meeting in October that were more regional to this area. Thank you.
Are there any other questions, comments, concerns? No? All right, then I have a motion by Councilperson Kaufman, a second by Councilperson Price, to adopt ordinance 948 of 2023, amending Chapter 220, Section 220-56, off-premise signs. Teresa, I'm sorry I didn't warn you, we have to roll call this.
Councilperson Kaufman.
Yes.
Councilperson Small. Councilperson Fisher.
Yes.
Councilperson Price.
Yes.
Councilperson Littner.
No.
Councilperson Brigard.
Yes.
Council President Zink.
Yes. And that carries. This is official this time. All right, and now at this time, 7:23 p.m., we're going to adjourn to an executive session to discuss the proposed police contract. We will be back shortly.
Was it there for that or against it?
He was against it.
Oh my.
Surprising.
Wow.
Yeah, surprising, isn't it?
Big. I mean, he was strong against Murphy.
Mm-hmm.
God, man.
Surprises do happen.
Yeah.